Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm delighted to be joined by Joel Mannix, who's head of dental at Christie and Co.
Hi Simon, thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for joining me. As the topic for today then is the first half of 2025. What have we seen in the market for dental practices and sales, which is obviously kind of what Christie and Co. specialize in.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I suppose if we somewhat take it back a bit and we look at last year and where it's got us to today. So I think 2024 was a real sort of pivotal year for the UK dental market.
Mm.
I think it was defined by not only, you know, dramatic surges or declines, but more of a sort of a recalibration within the sector, if you like, across all different levels. Uh, we did obviously have a backdrop of those persistent headwinds, economic headwinds, rising
Mm.
operational costs, budgets. And I think that if anything, it's proven that the dental market's been incredibly resilient and adaptive. I think we've probably seen more of a push now more than ever for quality sites. And that is coming from a range of different buyers. I think that there was a point where we saw some of the corporates sort of, I guess, step back, if you like.
Yeah.
They're looking to do a bit of recalibration themselves. But actually, what we've seen is those practices that we have transacted have been high quality practices, which goes to show, which adds into the point of a resilient market that's looking for quality.
When you say quality in this context, is that kind of practices that are financially robust, or is it the quality of treatment given, or the quality of the location and premises, or actually all three? Probably an amalgamation of all three makes a quality practice. But
Yeah, you've got it in one. Yeah, I think it's a mixture of everything. I think gone are the days where buyers just want one specific thing, whether that's surgery space or EBITDA or a certain type of dentistry, whether it's NHS or private or even ortho. Now, people want a real mix, and as long as that practice is doing it well, then we have many buyers for it. Probably where we're struggling are on the sort of back end of the market where, perhaps there's been a seller that's, maybe left it a bit too long to think about selling their practice. And we're sort of coming in at the 11th hour and then trying to get a deal done quickly. Um, Typically, when a practice gets to that stage, is, turnover started to go down, quality of the practices in it's not been invested in, etc. So it's started to go down as well. And now more than ever, buyers are starting to recognize those signs and sort of push back against it, I guess.
yeah, so does that mean that there just isn't a buyer for that type of thing, or does that mean that actually those buyers want a bargain and therefore the seller's not getting the best exit?
Yeah, it's the latter for sure, Simon, where we would see there is always buyers. Dentistry is a needs-based sector, so there will always be transactions. But yeah, we're certainly having to, instead of being able to maximize how much we can get for our client, it's about the exit. And we have to factor that into certain things, for
Yeah.
example, the numbers, etc. So, for us, I mean, ideally, we like to work with somebody a couple of years before they're looking to sell so that we can start having conversations with our potential client about, right, we've seen your practice, this is how much it's worth if you put it on the market today. However, by working together, particularly, when Hive is also involved, we're able to sort of hone in on different aspects of the business that will make it more attractive for the sale down the line, which means that, our clients are being able to maximize the value for their practice.
Yeah, and I'm going to sound like a broken record because if you watch back these videos over the years, I'm sure I say this every time, but one of the main reasons we love working with you guys is because there is that kind of that attitude of we want the best exit for our clients, whether it's kind of Christie and Co's client or whether it's Hive clients, hopefully joint clients. It's not about let's get this thing on the market right now. It's let's get this thing on the market at the right time, at the right price for the person who's selling. And I think Hive and Christie and Co able to work together quite well to help people hone in
Yeah.
on when is the best time and how can the best price be achieved. And you say kind of a couple of years before. I always say it's almost never too soon.
Yeah.
Certainly on the
Yeah.
tax side of things as well. Sometimes some of the things we might want to do in tax take 5 years. So um, it's
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, the sooner the better, absolutely. And you know, it's one of our key taglines. It's never too early to think about selling your practice. And you know, I think that rings true for what the both of us do. You know, the sooner we can speak to somebody, you know, and even if it's 10 years down the track, that's fine. You know, we want to have that conversation with you now because you know, if we can start working with you sometimes yearly, sometimes 6 monthly, in some cases it's every couple of months where we'll get a new set of numbers sent through and
yeah,
we'll look at it. We're happy to do so. Obviously, no obligation or anything because for us it's about, you know, the bigger picture of helping our clients achieve the most from the sale of their practice because you know you're only going to do this once, so we want to make sure that we're getting you the best possible deal, and when I say deal, that's not only the price but also the post-sale conditions as well because that is very important. And I think it's something else that more and more people are putting a lot more stock into these days is who you're selling to.
yeah,
Who are you going to leave your patients and your staff and your legacy to as well? Because that is really important. If you've spent years building up a business and then you're in a situation where you've got multiple offers, which is where we want to be, it might not be the top offer that somebody takes. It might be the second, the third, in some cases the fifth, sixth, seventh offer
yeah.
because that is who they will see is going to fit in best with their practice. And to me, that is the best deal.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, it's not always about the financials. Sometimes it's the timing of the tie-in. Sometimes it's just the feel for the people. Who are the individuals that are going to be here afterwards? And you know, we've certainly had cases where people have not gone for what looks like the best financial outcome because there's more to life than that, isn't there?
Yeah.
What kind of things are you seeing in terms of what deals look like at the moment? You know, we've been through a period where, you know, deferred payments have got longer, maybe tie-ins have got slightly longer, maybe the expectations for continued growth in a practice got a bit stricter. Is that still the case, or is that kind of easing back a little bit? What have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, every deal is different, Simon. So it's difficult to sort of pinpoint as what is the market doing. But what I would say is that now more so than ever before, in the last couple of years, I should say, we're seeing the re-entry of corporates. We're seeing, you know, group buyers coming to it. That sort of tier below that sort of mid-level corporate consolidator, or practice consolidator rather, they're really at the forefront of the market at the moment. So actually, by having more competition, we're able to get our clients sort of better, you know, conditions, whether it might be, as you say, less of a tie-in or less of a financial burden, targets, etc. And actually, what's really enjoyable about some of these sort of mid-level consolidators is that they're willing to look at practice sales slightly differently. It's not set X amount deferred, X amount tied, and if you don't hit it, we're going to take money off you if you don't hit X target. So, you know, it is a really good place to be in the market for allowing us to sort of negotiate some of these unique
Yeah,
deals. Um, there is a real rise in the independent market as well. As I said, you know, we spoke about this last year. But you know, the independent market is one where, you know, okay, they're perhaps not able to get to the lofty heights of prices that we're achieving, you know, sort of 4, 5 years ago. But what we are seeing is some really fantastic post-sale conditions. And actually our sellers are actually sort of saying, well, you know, this is a much better proposition for me because you know, I'm looking at somebody who I think thinks of dentistry the same way I do. They're just 20 years younger or whatever it might be, and you know, so therefore I'm willing to you know to work with them sort of going forward. And there's not that restrictive. You must be here, and if you're not here, we're gonna penalize you in some way. It's we want to work with you. I want to
yeah,
work with you because I want to be collaborative, and that's really nice actually.
yeah. Sounds on the whole like actually it's probably quite a good time to sell if it's got to be right for you as a seller. It's got to be the
Yeah.
right time in your life to be selling with, having exited and everything that means. But if it is the right time, then actually the market's in a good place by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it feels really optimistic. As I said, that it might be that you end up selling to those buyers that have been previously inactive for the last couple of years, but that's fine. But again, it's about giving you options, and we want to be able to present a load of options to you. With the way that Christie and Co works, we don't take fees from buyers or those that are on a tier list or anything
Mm.
like that. We will only ever work for our sellers, and that allows us to approach the whole of market, which means that we're able to get the best possible value. But as I said, there might be a dentist that lives right next door to your practice that you don't know about, but actually by using the whole of market approach, this practice is going to be worth more to them than it is to anybody else. So therefore, they're willing to pay more or to give you better conditions or whatever it might be. So it's really important to use that approach to when selling your practice, because you want somebody that is going to be working for you, and you want to have those options because ultimately it's your practice, it's your legacy. So you want to ensure that you're happy with who you sell it to.
Yeah, that point on, you don't take fees from buyers, you're working for the seller. You say that out loud, you think, well, of course, I'm your client, but actually, it isn't always like that, and we have encountered some, genuine horror stories over the last year. So don't take that with a pinch of salt if you're watching this. It genuinely is a big deal. Um, I know you guys put together your kind of annual dental review, don't you? And I believe there's 2025 document is probably in progress, ready to come out in the next
Yep.
3 or 4 months as we near the kind of the autumn. Are there any spoilers for what that's going to tell us?
We've had a greater response on our annual survey than ever before. So actually, I'm really excited to be able to when it comes time for us to be able to share those details, to be able to present that, because actually what we're seeing come through is probably more of an insight into the market than what we've had before. So no spoilers I can share with you now. I'm going to save that for the launch, but. Yeah, absolutely. Certainly get in touch when that does come live. We'll be happy to sell it. Sorry, sell it. Send it to you completely free. And I would say that yeah, it's a fantastic document. It takes a hell of a lot of work, so we're really excited to be able to share it with you.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to that, and yeah, like I say, hopefully we'll have a chance to talk about that when it is released later in the year. Um,
Absolutely, definitely.
if you think, you know, watching this that now might be the time to sell, or actually as we've kind of discussed, if you think 3 years' time might be the time to sell, best thing I can encourage is get in touch with Joel and the team. We can help put you in touch with the right agent for the right part of the country. Contact details will be up at the end of this video. Please do get in touch. Any questions? We'd love to help. Joel, any closing comments?
Just to echo what you've said there, Simon, it's even if you're not thinking about selling now, and you just would like to get a bit of an idea about what your practice might be worth, don't hesitate to get in touch. And likewise, if you're looking for some advice out with the sales process, then if you get in touch with us, we'll happily pass the your details over to Hive as well. So
Fantastic. Thanks again, Joel. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching, everybody.
thanks, Simon. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.